Hi everybody, Levi Clay here, and I am back again for another Q&A video. This video comes to you via a suggestion in my Patreon group, Do the Wobble. One of my patrons over there, we have a private group for anybody that supports me on Patreon. You can get a link to my Patreon below. One of the guys over there asked me the question, what are my thoughts on custom built guitars, luthier built guitars, and would I ever get one? And it's a very interesting subject, luthier built guitars, and my thoughts are pretty simple, really. The answer is kind of yes and kind of no on where I would have one, but let me explain as to why. So when you think about what a custom built guitar is, what a luthier built guitar is, or what a luthier is, it's somebody that builds guitars, and generally speaking, the reason you do something like that isn't for the love and the art. You're doing it as a business. If you're offering guitars to people to purchase, you're offering it as a business. You run a business. Now, nobody wants to run a business that's unsuccessful, so you're always going to be building guitars that people want to buy. Makes sense. Now, the more word spreads with your guitars, the more people want to buy your guitars, and the more and more you do that, the bigger and bigger your brand gets, and eventually do you cross over from being like a custom built luthier into being a big established brand. When you think of brands like Vigier, I play Vigier guitars. They started out, Patrice started building guitars. He didn't start out as a big company, and he's still not a huge company, but he's grown based on the quality of his work. If you think of a company like Suhr Guitars, John Suhr's guitars, they date all the way back to those old Pensa Suhr guitars that Mark Knopfler was playing, and a few other guys, and over the years he's become his own brand, and that built, and now Suhr is a big company. Even a company like Fender, when you really think about Fender, that it didn't start out as a huge company. It started out as Leo Fender, doing electronics and things, and then eventually building guitars and growing from there. So what I'm getting at is that when a luthier builds guitars, their end goal is always to become bigger, of course, and I see guys go out of the game, leave the game of building guitars just because things have not headed in that direction as fast as they'd like to, and many reasons for that, but we'll get to that. So the problem, in my opinion, of luthier custom built guitars is exactly that. It's the recognized value. We have to understand that when you look into something like money has no inherent value. Money doesn't mean anything. We don't operate under a commodity monetary system. We operate with fiat money. We went from representative to fiat money. So our money doesn't have any inherent value. The only value is what we attribute to it, is what we socially agree our money is worth. And nowhere is that more understandable than in guitars. Like, they're not inherently worth anything. I pay a lot of money for some of my guitars, but my wife does not think they are worth that, because to her they're absolutely not worth that. And I can't objectively say they are worth this. They're worth what I'm willing to pay for them. But nowhere is that truer than with a custom-built luthier guitar. Now, the parallel that I'm sure you probably will know is parts casters and things like that. If you build a Warmoth guitar, you can spend quite a lot of money getting a great instrument. But when you do that, when it comes to resale of that guitar, value has gone out the door. People just are not interested in paying top value for this guitar, because we sort of all understand that because it's a parts caster, it doesn't have the value associated with it as you would if it was a Fender, for example. Even if it's higher specs, even if it's nicer woods and it looks better, the fact that it doesn't say Fender on the top means it does not have that perceived value. It has personal value. So when you look at something like my Vigiers, you could make the argument that the problem with Vigiers is that they cost a lot more than people think they're worth. Patrice has to make a markup. He has to make money on his guitars, or he doesn't have a business. And I understand that and appreciate that. But you're looking at, £2,000 upwards, somewhere around there, for a high-end Vigier guitar. Now, the wood doesn't cost £2,000. The electronics don't cost £2,000. The experience, maybe. You're paying for the brand. You're paying for the innovations and things like that. But, and this is, Vigier's downfall, as it were, there's not a huge second-hand market for them because, well, because people tend to buy them and not sell them. The point is, because their brand recognition isn't higher, people are paying £2,000+ for a guitar. When it comes to reselling them, because there's less demand for them on the second-hand market, they sell for much lower than realistically I think they're worth. And I think they're actually great guitars to buy if you're wanting to get a Vigier. They're a good guitar, a high-end guitar in the second-hand market, because they go for very, very low prices, often losing up to half or even more of their value. I've seen some obscene deals on Vigier guitars on the second-hand market. So you could perceive that as being a problem and a reason to not go for a luthier-built guitar. In fact, to me, that's probably the biggest issue with the luthier-built guitar. On the upside, you have options. Options are great. Who doesn't love options? Who doesn't like being able to say, I want this and I want this and I want this? Because it's very unlikely that when you look at Fender or Ibanez or ESP that they have the perfect guitar for you. In fact, pretty much all of my guitars, I modify them in one way or another to get them closer to what I want. That's cool. So if you go the luthier built route, you can have that from the get-go. What I would essentially say to you is a luthier-built guitar is an excellent option. Excellent option for a good few reasons, right? The most important being you can get exactly what you want. Exactly what you want. And that is awesome. But here's a better thing, maybe not better. You're supporting your local economies. You're supporting independent businesses. Spoilers, Fender probably don't need your money. Fender probably don't need you to buy an overinflated guitar at extreme cost so they can make extreme profits. I mean, of course, they need to sell guitars to run a business. But your local luthiers, people that are around you or in your country, in your local areas that build, this is what you're not, when you buy from a local business, you might have seen this meme, like you're not paying for a CEO's bonus that year. You're helping to pay for a child's dance lessons. You're helping to pay for a child's meals in school meals or whatever. You're helping to support a family. You're contributing and you're keeping your money local. That's not a bad thing. That's an excellent thing. So if you can find a luthier that you trust, somebody that you can objectively look at their work and say, you're doing great work here, and I think that your business is going to go somewhere. I think that buying a custom-built luthier guitar is a great choice, a great thing to do. What you want to do is you want that, though. You want to look at somebody and say, this business is going somewhere. If you never, ever plan to sell the guitar again, well, it doesn't matter so much. It doesn't matter at all. But if you're the sort of guy that sells guitars, maybe the luthier custom-built guitar thing isn't for you, because the resale value won't be there. There are plenty of brands that have come up in the last few years. Actually, a good example would be Fibonacci, who, before Tom Quayle was playing their guitars, they weren't relatively well known at all. I'd seen them at trade shows and seen the erotic model, but had no real inclination to check them out with any kind of serious intention, other than the fact that I'd just seen what they look like. But then as soon as Tom started playing them and other people started playing them based on Tom playing them, you go, oh, okay, maybe these are worth checking out. So any luthiers watching this, get some good artists. If you're looking to increase the size of your business and get more customers in, get some good artists. So brands like, who did I say there? I said Fibonacci. The other brand that was in my head that are kind of up-and-comers and are doing quite well is Nags. They're doing well. Also Aristides. They've sort of burst onto the scene in the last 5 years, and they're doing good work. People are taking their work very seriously as well. But at the same time, there are also brands that have hit the scene and then not panned out in the way that you might have thought they would. What was that guitar that Misha was playing for a while? Misha Mansour has played a fair amount of up-and-coming luthier guitars that aren't really out doing anything now. And there's one that's particularly in my mind. Hang on. Misha Mansour Guitar World video lessons. There we go. Ooh, don't want that. I mean, you don't want to hear it. Ah, the Bernie Rico. Yeah, of course. So the Bernie Rico guitars. If you bought a Bernie Rico guitar, you know, probably ended up being burnt on that one. And there are other brands like that. Like, unfortunately, Jaden Rose, great UK builder, but he's no longer in the business. And that's definitely made people that own his guitars, it's kind of harder for them to shift them on. Patrick Egger was another UK builder who, again, isn't doing so well in terms of public reputation and therefore resale value. You know, Ormsby guitars are kind of making their way up. So lots of options. Would I buy a luthier built guitar? I'm not really buying any more expensive guitars. I'm with Vigier. I have an endorsement with Vigier. I love my Vigier guitars. My number one red is over there. I'm playing that today at the moment. Beautiful guitar, but yeah, I have had to make some modifications to it in order to get exactly what I want. So really, ultimately, it's down to you. You have to understand the pitfalls of the market, the pitfalls of the business model before you go into it, and just make sure that you're getting something that is worth to you is worth what they're charging for it. Don't overpay because you think that there's some inherent perceived value in the self-employed market. What you have is a person, they make something, they tell you what it's worth to them, and either you agree with what they say it's worth or you don't agree with what they say it's worth. Nowhere is that more dangerous than in the luthier market. So what do you guys think? Do you own any second hand? Do you own any custom shop guitars? Any custom built guitars? Maybe from an unknown builder or maybe from a well-known builder like the Jackson stuff or the ESP stuff. They've got lots of high-end custom shop stuff. What are your thoughts on them? Would you buy one? Let me know. Drop a comment in the comment section below. Hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, and of course check me out on Patreon, and we can get more conversations like this going on. Peace out, guys. It's been my pleasure to chat with you, and I'll be back again soon. Bye.